So, hello everyone, and welcome to the Akashic Business Wisdom Show with me, your host, Natasha Nicole Harris, and my delightful guest, Kate Decker, the Sparkle Queen. I cannot wait to have this conversation with you, Kate. Welcome to the show.
Hi, hello everyone. I am so excited to be here. Every time someone says Sparkle Queen, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's me. I love it. I love it. It's like how we sparkle in business is what we're going to be talking about today. So, for those of you, just very briefly before we do introductions, just for those of you who don't know me, I'm Natasha Nicole Harris. I'm an intuitive business coach, Akashic healer, and activator, working with soul-led entrepreneurs to really take in the next level of leadership, wisdom, magic. We're going to be talking about sparkle and magic a bit today, and love and relationships and all sorts of things in your business, because everything is interconnected, as we know. So I am here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. UK time, generally with a guest, or sometimes pulling some cards, doing some Akashic healing, doing some Akashic activation. So come and join us in the the Soul Aligned Leaders group on Facebook. So Kate, welcome. Do you want to just do a quick intro about yourself, and let people know who you are and what you're doing?
So I was just before we hopped on, I was telling Natasha that I just don't know ever how to sum myself up, but I guess I am a manifestation queen, food junkie, quantum leap expert, and in general, I lead women to really create the life of their dreams and be the leader, designing their life, the one that they've always wanted, whether that comes in personal life or creating that dream business that's just so fun and playful, an extension of you. And I run life programs and automated programs and retreats and all of that stuff. And I'm honestly just having fun.
That's the main thing. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about, fun and joy in business, because those two words don't generally make sense to a lot of people, but we will be talking into that. And if you're watching live, say hello, ask us questions while you've got us here live. If you're watching the replay, type hashtag replay and tag us as well, because we will come back and answer that. I think you described yourself beautifully and very succinctly, and I love that. So, and I do love it, the Sparkle Queen. Just think that that's so much more of what we want to create in life and in our businesses, isn't it? It's like, how do we sparkle and create that?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that I want to say is that I did not come up with that name myself. It's not like I proclaimed myself the Sparkle Queen, but I was actually part of a mastermind and I hosted a retreat. And one of the women who was with me in the mastermind came to my retreat, which was scary in a way, but amazing. And afterwards, she said, well, Kate was just this sparkle bomb, she just sparkled. She was like a sparkle queen. And I'm like, oh, that's what I do. That's who I am. I love to sparkle, not just for me or on the surface level, but from inside out in everything that I do. And so that's how it actually came. That's how we came up with the name.
I love that. I love that when that happens, when something just resonates so deeply within you, when someone says something back to you, reflects exactly who you are and what you stand for and what you're all about. And it just feels right. And I love that. It's like, it's from within. It's like, it's not just like, oh, sparkling out there. It's like, it's a vibration. It's a frequency from within, isn't it?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, I love that. I really do. It just makes me smile whenever I think of it, because who doesn't want to sparkle more? So you talked a little bit about quantum leaping and stuff. So I don't know, that's a big topic, but let's start there for people watching, because talk to me a little bit about quantum leaps and quantum shifts, and there's something there that I really want to feel like I want to unpick.
Yeah, so I'm just so happy that you actually picked this theme and topic for the conversation, because there is a huge misconception about quantum leaps, right? I know that we live in this fast-paced world and we want everything in an instant. We want everything so fast, right? We want that, okay, I want the 1, 2, 3 step, I'm gonna become a millionaire. I want the 3 simple exercises. I'm going to have shredded abs. And we want everything fast. And it makes so much sense because with our phones, with the internet, like everything is at our fingertips, right? Like right now I am actually in Florida, you're in the UK, but the whole world is at our fingertips because anyone can see this. So that's the beautiful part of that. Everything can be so instant. But where the misconception comes in is that we see a lot of times people celebrating huge income leaps, right? I'm going to tailor it back to business. And it just seems like everything just happened overnight. Yes. But it's so important to know that that's not the case.
Yeah.
So I am going to actually share a little bit of my story.
Fantastic.
And it's going to make complete sense. So I started my business essentially, I would say in, 2019.
Yeah.
And not that long ago. And I 100% believe that's going to be my 6-figure year. So I pulled on my big girl pants and I hired a mentor. I paid $35,000 in full for 6 months of private coaching when I was making $400 per month. And I took out a loan to do that. Insane. I'm not saying anyone needs to do that, but I just pulled that was the right step for me. And it's not for everyone. So please don't take me up on it that you need to do that. Yeah. I just want to give you a little background on it. So I made this crazy leap, essentially.
Yeah.
And I was working and I was doing the work and I was showing up. And it was September of 2019. And my highest month by that point was $2,500 only once. So nowhere near 6 figures, but it was 9 months, right, in the making. Yeah. And then September ended up being a 6K month. October ended up being a $15,000 month. And I ended the year with $42,000, which was awesome. My second year in business, January, it was like a 10K month. February was, I think, 14 or 15 or something like that. March, $29,000 cash. So where a lot of people started paying attention was when I said, holy crap, I just made $30,000 in 1 month and it's just March. And a lot of people saw that, oh my gosh, it happened so overnight. And you know what? Looking back on it, it was so fast. It was so quick. But there was 15 months of dedication, going, freaking out, like, what the heck have I done, right? Yeah. Going like, can I actually do this? Can I not do that, right? All of these like fears and frustrations. And I cried so many times to my mentor being like, what's wrong with me? Like there was so much that went into it, but I never, ever stopped in those 15 months straight. Yeah. And this is what I want to highlight, because once we then had that first quantum leap, it can snowball if we keep up the work. Yeah. So what quantum leap really is that compound effect, right? It's it's adding up a little bit. It's like if you're biking, uphill, and you're going and it's like hard and it's hard and it's hard and it's hard. And then like right before the top, you want to give up. You're like, I'm going to fall off this bike. But if you keep pedaling, you're on the other side and you just like ride down, right? Yeah. And it's totally fine. But what a lot of people do, and that's why they don't have that quantum leap, is that they bike and it's like, oh, it's hard. It's not happening. Oh, someone's already going downhill. That means I cannot do it. Okay, I'm just going to go back.
Yeah.
And that's why people don't have quantum leaps. And I understand and I get it, because it's hard. It feels like you're crazy. You're following this like blind faith, and that's all you've got. If you have a mentor, you are better off, because at least like you're like, okay, this person believes in me, so maybe I can do it. Yeah. But it still is hard even when you have a mentor, because all the doubts, all the things, you probably don't have any evidence. I had like no evidence whatsoever that it was going to work. And if anything, I had more evidence that it wasn't going to work. Yeah. But that's what a quantum leap is. It's a lot of what people don't see until you leap. It's
Yes.
like the same with working out at the gym. Like the first 3 months are the hardest because you're working so hard. You might be drinking more water, you might be eating better, and like it just seems like you might be actually gaining weight, or you feel a little bit more kind of like puffy and stuff. That's because you had no water in your body. That's because you are actually gaining some muscles, but the fat hasn't left yet. So those are the moments when we want to give up. But if we keep going despite all the odds, that's when the quantum leap happens.
Yeah.
So it is quite magical. And when you're on the other side of quantum leap, you'll look and like, oh my gosh, that happened so fast. That was so easy.
It is extraordinary, isn't it? Because I think that there's so much around how we go up and then we stop, or we slow down, and we push ourselves to such an extent, because there's something that you said, the word, that dedication, that really a devotion feels like an absolute connection. Yes. And dedication and devotion, and it's more than just the hard work. People think that if I just put my foot to the flat to the floor, that, you know, it'll work. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's about the devotion and the dedication to what you're actually doing, and that you're heading in a direction that makes sense, that feels right, feels aligned, feels in flow with where you're going. Whereas haphazard, so many people are doing haphazard and doing the hard work and go, why isn't that not happening for me? But I'm doing all the hard work, and why is that not happening? For me, I feel there's something in that. What do you think about that?
Oh, 100%. So it's absolutely necessary to do the work. You have to do the doing. There's no way around it. Like if you're gonna just, think positive and think it's gonna happen and you're not gonna go to the gym, like there's just like, no, you're most likely not gonna think your six-pack abs, to come. So you have to do the doing, but it actually doesn't have to be doing in the sense of sacrificing yourself and working yourself to the bone. Like that's actually a huge mistake, because that's completely unsustainable. And if there's one thing that's important if you want to have quantum leaps, it's to create a framework that is sustainable, right? That's when the fun and joy kind of comes in play, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But the second big part is that mind, body, and soul, right? That energy. That's exactly what Natasha talks about, because you will have those moments when it feels hard, and it's so important to work through it, to walk through it, not just pretend, no, this is fine. It's not fine. You're feeling like a piece of poop, so you need to feel it. You need to move through it, and it's okay. And you can cry, and you can be frustrated, and you can all of those things, right? But the biggest piece that I can advice that I can give to someone is, instead of just getting the to-dos, what you want to do, and the plans and all that stuff, pick identity. Mm-hmm. Who do you want to be? Like that person that makes those, I don't know, 10K, 20K, 30K months. Assign an identity to it, and you can name it or whatever. And when you know that identity, then your mindset, what you're doing, all of it is going to become clear, right? And you will ask yourself, okay, what would she do? How would that version of me process this? How would that version of me tackle this? And sometimes it's going to tell you she would take a rest. Sometimes it would tell you she would push that. She would go through. And sometimes it's going to tell you something else. I don't know, right? But when you have that second part of identity of this is who I want to be, it's so much easier to recognize what's your self-sabotage, what's your fears, what's your doubts, and what's actually that alignment, right? Because a lot of people talk about alignment, but they also confuse it with what feels good and what doesn't feel good.
Yes.
When you're having a crisis.
It doesn't feel good, no matter, but you can still be in alignment, right?
Exactly. When you're going through the dark night of the soul, it's not going to feel good. And if a man that it's not a line, that doesn't make sense. So how I always picture it is, I am here. This is the identity with all that I want. And is this action in alignment to the journey that I'm going on, right? Is this thought in alignment to the journey that I'm taking on? So it's like aligning to that person, and sometimes that means it's going to kind of suck.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so true, isn't it? And I think, very early on in my stage of spiritual development, before I was even in business, I think that was the conception. It was like alignment was either it's like, it feels good and you're like, everything feels like, juicy and like we're in the flow and we're doing it. And then when you're not, you're like, what did I break? And it's like, it's that realization that, I love the way that you said, what's the identity of who you're becoming on the road to it? And like, who is that woman, that man, that person that you're becoming? And who is that person at the end of the road when you've become it? Because what would she say? What would they say? What would they do? How are you becoming that person right here, right now on the journey towards it? And that's so important as well. And sometimes that will be having to go through the grief of losing part of yourself, letting go of something, going through a breakup, going through grief because something happens, drama ensuing. It's like, how does that person, that identity of that person navigate it? And that's so important as well.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is when things are not there, like when there's a moment when things aren't going wrong. And as you said, like people freak out of like, what did I do wrong? Nothing. You're okay. Just keep going, right? Like just because something didn't work out exactly right, it doesn't mean that you're not in alignment. It doesn't mean that you are not manifesting things. It doesn't have to mean that. Sometimes it does. And if you know that you like completely went off the wrong end, then redirect and no judgment, let's just hop back, right? But most of the time it's just like it's a step on the way and you just don't see the other side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we get to the other side, it's like, oh, okay, now I understand how this was for me. But also I think sometimes those tweaks and those course corrections and those things are also part of being in alignment. It's like we're pushing too hard in a certain direction, and actually something's calling you to just nudge something a little bit in a different direction, or to go and be in a different city, go and live somewhere else, or tweak your messaging, tweak who you want to work with. And that's all in alignment too. That doesn't mean to say the original thing was wrong. It was steps that you needed to take in order for you to go, now I have some more clarity at this point. This is actually where I'm heading. So it's like we can tweak and play with things, and we get to play. It's not such a serious game.
100%. Yeah. And like even with the Sparkle Queen title, honestly, like I didn't know it until mid 2020. Started my business in 2019, had no name or no name of the brand. Like I just started doing things. And then in mid 2020 or beginning of 2020, I don't remember. It took a while before I got that title, if you will, right? So like it wasn't clear right away. And in terms of that fun and play, like that's just such an important part of having things work out long term. So do you want me to just kind of talk about that now?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
It's just so important. And I, as a recovering serious person, like I totally get how that for me was not part of fun. It was like, I really struggled to have fun because I was like, well, this is quite serious. I have a mission. I have a job to do. I have a purpose to fulfill. It's quite serious. And it's like, now I can really laugh at myself and like notice when I put on my serious hat and like go in a different direction. But I'd love to hear how, because you said something in our conversation before we came online, was like about joy being the foundation of what you do. And that's just such a different place to come from.
100%. And so I want to preface this by saying I'm a control freak. I'm a perfectionist.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Yes. And I take things way too seriously. Yeah. So that's who I am. And yet here I am talking about fun and joy being the foundation. So when I mentioned the sustainability, right? Like the only way how you can create a quantum leap and keep going, honestly, and keep creating something amazing in your life, in your relationship, in your business, anywhere, you need to do things that are sustainable.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to jump up with that high energy and high motivation where you're like all about it and overshoot it, and then not have any energy, and then you need to give up, right? It's the same way, like if you are running a marathon, my husband is a marathon runner, if you start out too fast, you are going to die the last few miles. Like your body will literally run out of energy and it will have no more. You need to start slower maybe sometimes than you would want to go and build up that momentum, and then you can sprint through that finish line at the end. So the same way in our business, when we take the fun and joy and playfulness as the first and foremost foundation, and we choose if I had it all my way, what would I be teaching? How would I be going about this? What would be the things that I would be sharing? What is the one thing that I really want people to know and get? And when you take it from this excitement and fun and play, and you choose, even like obviously like not all of the tasks, you're not going to be perfect at all the tasks right away, right? Maybe you are tech savvy, maybe you're not. That's a learning curve. That's not what's accounted into the fun and play. But once you learn how to do it, you will be able to say, this is fun. Instagram is fun. Pinterest is fun. You know, maybe YouTube is fun. LinkedIn, not so fun. Facebook, not so fun. And I'm just giving like examples of it. It's not even like how I feel, right? But like you need to learn how to do it to be able to say, this is fun, this is not fun. So that's the first one.
Yes,
and
I totally agree with that.
Because nothing feels fun if you don't know how to do it, right? Especially if you're like me, you're a control freak and you are way too serious, and you're gonna think like you suck, and therefore like, no, this is not fun. But maybe it will become fun once you learn how to do it. So when you take that, you will be able to go so much further. You guys, also for those of you who are into human design, I'm a projector. And so that means I have, let's say, a cup of energy every single day. And people say like, oh, you can only work 4 hours per day. I can work 6-7 hours per day just fine, because if I'm doing the things that are fun, that are like extension of my creativity, that are, you know, like I'm really sharing my soul out there, then it feels like I'm playing. But still at the same time, and these parts are so important. Like even when I'm like writing, for example, content or creating something, I will just say what's coming out of me in that creativity and that fun. But then I will go back into it and look through that. What did I learn? What's important in terms of marketing? What's important in terms of how people are going to read it? Because they're not going to feel it necessarily the same way that I'm feeling this, right? But like, how can I make this a little bit clearer? How can I make this maybe a little bit shorter because I have too many words in my mouth? How can I make this a little bit shorter and bite-sized for them, right? So like, I share my soul right here, but then I take it through the filter of how's it going to be beneficial to my people? So I use the tools and the knowledge that I have. So that's just an example, but it's still fun because I am allowing this creativity and joy. Or sometimes, like, you know, even I might not be having fun with what I'm doing, and I just feel this like pressure. I'm like, just gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna go color. I'm gonna go do something else right now that is fun, and I'll probably come up with a solution in the meantime. And having this little bit lighter approach to our work, to our business, again, allows that creativity, that joy, that fun to come through.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's such an important part of it, isn't it? And you're right. It's like when we're kind of like going, oh, it's not flowing, it's not there. And we try to push through that. we expend so much energy, and it is exhausting, and we end up the day feeling exhausted. But when we sort of say, okay, I'm just going to take a break, I'm going to step away, go for a walk. For me, being in nature is just like the biggest energy boost I could possibly have, and it just sets me up. And it's like, that's when the energy, the creativity, the inspiration, the wisdom, everything flows through. And then we come back and we're like, okay, well, now I need to take action. We can't just leave it like there. And it becomes, when it's easy, when it flows like that, it becomes more fun by default. I find, like, there are certain things that I do now in my business that I just thought I will never find that fun. And I'm like, yep, camera, here we go. Let's go on and have a chat, and let's have a conversation with someone. Being on social media, I just was like, oh, it's something I have to do. And now it's like, I just, as you say, I'm sharing something from my perspective. And if it lands, it lands. And if how do you want it to land? And it won't resonate with everyone. I think that sometimes we hold on to this perfectionist idea that it's got to be perfect for everyone. But actually, it'll be perfect for the people that need to read it, need to hear it, want to be part of that story. So it's like, how do we create, and it's such an important thing, and it'll be different for everyone, I guess. It's like, that's how I feel. It's like, how we create fun in our business will be different for everyone. It's finding your unique little way to add and infuse fun to everything you do in little ways.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, I love it. It's brilliant. And that's, that's what for me feels like, as what we've been saying, what we've talked about in the past, is like how it really makes us have an easier journey on it, and that we can really, linking it back to the quantum leaps, that when we do have fun, when we're enjoying it, when we infuse that energy with things, then things happen more naturally, and they're like, oh, wow, oh, look at that just happened there. It's when we push and we create that resistance in the push.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So what else would you like to kind of add to anything around that? I feel like that's just so juicy. I know there's like somebody, it's Sunny. Hello, Sunny, watching. If you've got any questions for us around it, because it is sometimes, I think we try to figure it out with our minds. Like, how do we do a quantum leap? Like, give me the 7 steps. And there's so many different elements to it, aren't there? And it's like, it's about finding our blended way to keep going through those steps, that we go, oh, there it is, and being patient and having time. What do you think is, that's a good question. So what do you think is your biggest tip around creating those, moving towards creating a quantum leap?
So honestly, it's kind of what I already said. Like, pick that tap into your heart first. Tap into your heart to check in that that's something that you truly desire, that it's not just something that would look cool or that would prove to someone something. It's like, this is what I genuinely want. And then choose that identity with that, right? Like, exactly the person who has that this is her personality. These are her personality traits. This is what she does. This is how she shows up. This is how she carries herself. And focus not on the quantum leap. After that quantum leap, focus on becoming that person and being that person every single day. If you be that person as much as you can every single day, you're automatically going to become that person, and that person has what you want. So immediately as you pick the quantum leap and the identity, forget about that freaking quantum leap. It's going to haunt you. Focus on that identity.
About it.
Yeah. We just had, Halloween here in the US, so it's going to haunt you. So just forget about it.
Yeah.
I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it? We put too much, we hold on to it. We try to grasp it too hard, and that's what pushes it and creates resistance. And it's always that bit too, always like a step in front of you, a couple of steps forward. And it's like we're constantly chasing the dream, the quantum leap, rather than being in flow with it and walking easily and more effortlessly and more joyfully towards it.
Yep.
Yes, I can feel that. I can feel that tingling and sparkling through my whole being. So, oh my goodness, that's probably a great place to kind of leave this conversation. Let people kind of keep musing about what that quantum is to them and who they are in that quantum leap and the quantum leap that they desire. That's so important as well. It's like often we're chasing something that other people want or that we think other people will respect us for, rather than going for the things that we really truly do in our heart's desire.
100%.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Kate, for coming to join me. Let me tell the audience where they can find you, and Kate will pop a couple of links in the post, in the comments, in the posts as well. But where can people find you?
Yeah, so the place that people can find me is Instagram at exokateducker. That's where I am the most of the time. I also have a Facebook community, Sparkle Society, for coaches, creatives, and high achievers.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are the two places where I hang out the most.
Yeah, fantastic. So go and follow Kate on Instagram. Go and check out her group, and hang out with Kate and put yourself in those quantum leap vibrations. Oh my goodness. Thank you again, Kate. I really appreciate you coming and chatting to me here on my podcast show, my interview show. And yeah, I'm sure we will be having a conversation again very soon. So thank you for those who've watched live. Thank you for those who are watching on the replay. Do post any questions, as I said, that you have. Tag us and we will come back and we will answer those and we will engage in a conversation. And I'll see you all again in 2 weeks' time, because I'm not here next week, and I will speak to you soon. Lots of love to everyone. Thank you again, Kate.
Thank you.
Enjoy making those quantum leaps, everyone. Have fun with it. Bye for now.